So there's something that came to mind a couple days ago, and it came about as I've been, making documentation of just my overall spiritual journey, starting from the moment that I ended up leaving the old church that I used to go to. And it's so interesting. I don't know how many people like watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. I remember when the heroes got to the Earth Kingdom and they were being led by their tour guide, Judy, and whatever. And, everything was just real weird. She was speaking to them, and like, Sokka was like, hey, we got a message to give the Earth King, about the war. And she's like, okay, yeah, so now next we'll show you into your room. Like, it's like she didn't even hear nothing. And they were like, bruh, what's going on? Later in the season, you see that there's like this underground area where people are literally indoctrinating the tour guides, the other people who are also named Judy. So basically, if anyone kind of snapped out of the brainwashing, there was another Judy ready. But there's this one part where this character named Jet is captured, and there's the guy, he's there, and there's like this lamp that kind of goes around. It's like this pendulum lamp, I guess, for lack of a better term. And he says, there's no war in Ba Sing Se. And he just says it over and over until, it gets in there. And all of that made me think about, oh my goodness, like, this is the spell. It's really amazing to me that as I'm documenting all this stuff, as I'm recalling all this stuff, that I was like, how come I never seen this before? You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, like, how did I participate in this system and like just never question it or whatever? And so what I noticed as I was jotting down my thoughts and thinking about just like general controversy and things that would come up, that people would bring up, about the church, it just made me think of that instance of, there's no war, there's nothing going on, everything's fine. Because every single time there was somebody to call out anything, whether it was behind closed doors, a thing that never got open enough for people to really see it, or if it was public, every single time the thing was, it's a lie, this is persecution, this person's bitter, this person got a campaign. That one especially I got from somebody that was a friend of mine, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I love her, but it was really shocking. But it's just like, you just get stuff like that thrown at those people. And again, I was in the pews at those moments in times where those were being thrown out at other people that weren't me, prior to everything. And yeah, it's just like that. It's that it's not like anybody is like doing a deliberate incantation, unless they are. I mean, I'm not gonna go ahead and say necessarily that somebody's underground, like, got a swirling something in the cauldron, and they're saying I don't remember how it goes, the boyo boyo double trouble, whatever. I don't even know. I don't even think I should get it right. So just forget about all that anyway. So I'm not saying it's like that, but it still is witchcraft in the sense of, it's like, it's almost like an incantation. It's not something that you're told every day, or in reference to what I was talking about. Like, it's not like somebody saying, there's no war in Ba Sing Se over and over again like that. But if this is what is kind of said every single time, then it's like a spell that has you bound. And even if the person who may call out something is your best friend or like whatever, like it really can seep into you. You can speak just the way or represent the organization's ideals in the same way. And another example of this, and I'm going to end really soon, is that I remember when I wanted to talk to certain people about what I was thinking, how I process things prior to ultimately making a decision to leave. And I kept hearing the same thing. It was like just the same type of comments that were very dismissive. And then when I would hear somebody say that a particular thing didn't exist anymore or wasn't happening anymore, at that point I stopped talking. I just stopped, because it immediately gave me the signal. I said, I don't think this person is safe. And it's not to say anything personal about the, like that, that anybody's evil or whatever, but it's just like, if you just think about general relationships, who has the capacity to handle what you need to say and who doesn't. And so I needed to, even if the person that I spoke to may have not agreed, I needed to know that somebody was actually processing and listening. Because, you know what I mean? If you're just a yes person or you just agree, then, that's not really good. And unfortunately, I know what it's like to be like that. Recovering people pleaser over here. So, but I knew once I heard people right off the bat try to dismiss things or act like, okay, well, I don't know if that's whatever. Then I was like, okay, this is not, there's limits to how far I can get in this conversation. So I'm not going to divulge too much. We'll cut this short. But even in that, I know why that happened. Because again, this environment, and you don't even know it. It just, there's some sort of spell. There's some sort of thing. And especially in my case where I didn't really have a bad experience, there were things that I think were deep within me, like that I buried. And I might get into that a little bit more at some point. So there was like feelings, I think, of anxiety and stuff like that but it was buried underneath just all the activities I was doing. So that's the thing. It's just like, when you keep yourself busy, and you don't sit with yourself, you're not able to like really detect like what's really going on. And so I think that that's really what happened with me. Is I had a pretty decent experience. Like I had fun, laughter, all the things. But even if there was something that was iffy, I personally quickly brushed it off. I guess it's hard sometimes for the human mind to wrap around the idea that even like if something is good, then that means that it can't be commingled with something bad. You know what I mean? And that's the whole trick. But yeah, but that's a piece of my revelation from a couple of days ago. And there is so much more to talk about in terms of just like reoccurrence and, things that replay over and over in your mind. And I'm going to get to that because like listen, I do not have a psychology degree, but I might as well at this point, or because God is building up these credits and He's imparting to me a particular wisdom about the mind that I'm like, yo. So, but this is just one aspect of it. And one thing that I was really, really thinking about, as I was just recalling my journey. And so, yeah, I just wanted to this was supposed to be a short, by the way, but I guess it's a little bit longer. But anywho, if you are interested in looking at my blog and seeing more of my testimony, I'm going in there. Like, it's going to be a lot more extensive than I've ever gotten into it. In case you are one, interested, but I think two, most of all, if it would be useful for you or helpful for you, just to have that information, it's there. That's available for you. And yeah, catch you next time sometime.